What's going on, Orlando Magic fans? You guys are back with the Six-Man Show. It is March 1st, 2021. As always, I am joined by my co-host, Luke Sylvia.
What's up?
And we are also joined by a special guest this evening, Adam Papageorgeiou of the Penny and Pops podcast, formerly of Magic Basketball Online. Adam, thank you so much for taking the time. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing wonderful. Appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah, man, super excited. So we really brought Adam on, obviously, to talk some Orlando Magic hoops. But unless you've been living underneath a rock the past few weeks, you have probably been exposed to the phenomenon that right now that is NBA Top Shot. So Adam seems to be as well versed as anybody I know in NBA Top Shot. So we are seeking his expertise and hoping that it's going to lead to some fun conversation. So we're going to get to that in a little bit. We are going to talk some Orlando Magic basketball first. So we're going to quickly run through the weekly state of the Magic. So this week, the Magic went 0-3 with a home loss to the Detroit Pistons, a loss on the road to the Brooklyn Nets, and then returned home to close out the week with a loss to the Utah Jazz. Magic currently sit with a record of 13 wins, 21 losses. As of tonight, is good for a 13th place in the Eastern Conference. They sit 3 games out of the 8th seed, but also the 9th and 10th play-in seeds. Orlando currently has the 5th worst record in the NBA. If the NBA draft lottery was tonight, gentlemen, the Magic would have a 45.2% chance of securing a top 4 pick, as well as an 11.5% chance of securing the number 1 overall pick in the draft. Orlando is currently 28th in the league in offensive rating at 105.1 and 19th in the league in defensive rating at 111.7. However, in the last 10 games, the Magic are 7th in defensive rating in the league at 109.4. And Luke is going to take away with the injury report.
Yeah, so thankfully the injury report is smaller than it's been. Ennis is day-to-day with that left calf injury that he got against the Nets. He missed that game against the Jazz. And then Cole Anthony, as you guys know, still out with his right rib injury after the infamous Twitch reveal on stream of his injury. Now wearing a sling to stabilize the arm. And then AG is also still out, as you guys know, and is expected to be out until after All-Star break. So, Jonathan, I'm glad that injury report is a little shorter than it usually is. So that's a relief. But hopefully we'll have obviously Ennis back soon. But hopefully we can get Cole and AG back here shortly. But I mean, with Cole in a sling, I don't know what the timetable really is particularly, but.
So we mentioned that AG is going to be out after the All-Star break. And this week, Tuesday, actually, it was announced, and I'm wearing my 2018-19 Nikola Vucevic All-Star jersey just because it felt right. But Nikola Vucevic has been named as an Eastern All-Star reserve, averaging 24 points, 11.6 rebounds, 3.6 assists, shooting 48% from the floor and 41% from the three-point line. So, Adam, I wanted to ask you just your thoughts on Vooch this season, making the All-Star team, and then were you perhaps maybe a little bit surprised that he actually made it?
Actually, I was not surprised because I was tweeting about it, I think, for at least 24 hours before the vote came out. But coaches have a much bigger respect for Vooch's game than the actual national media does. So even though most of the non-Magic media was absolutely surprised, I wasn't. Anybody that's actually talked to the head coaches that actually do the voting would know that Vooch is more respected than some of the guys that might have actually been perceived as snubs. Vooch is the number 1 option, scoring option for the Magic, and so he's got they got to deal with do we want to double team him or not? Are we gonna make him a triple double threat? We'll see, who knows, but I mean. It's been a career season for Vooch, and he's in his prime right now. He's not athletically dependent on his skill set on what he's doing right now, so he could be doing this for another 3-4 years. But no, I mean, like I was until they actually revealed that he got in. I think Shams broke the news, I think, like a full hour before the TNT broadcast. So I'm sure the Turner folks were happy about that. But still, until you actually see it happen, you don't know, obviously, but I had a good feeling he'd get in, but I was very, very happy. And I'm sure everybody in the Magic organization was super happy for him. And He's a 2-time All-Star now. It's one, and he's been voted in both times. He hasn't been like an add-in in the past.
Luke, what
Right.
about
Yeah.
you?
And that's the thing with Vooch, man, is that was what the reason that Magic fans were optimistic. That was the big thing you heard around Twitter, especially was, oh, well, it was like this the last time, and the coaches got him in and had the final say. A lot of people kind of have, who don't watch the Magic, because shocking, the Magic aren't their league pass team. But they don't know. They don't have any idea about Vooch and how good and consistent he is. They don't know that he shoots, the 40% from three on whatever it is, almost 7 attempts a game, which is absurd. And we've talked about it, countless times, because Vooch is that, shining bright spot for a franchise that we just are now seeing get back into the playoffs. But I've seen a lot of disrespect for Vooch since it got announced. I've seen people on podcasts say, Vooch isn't all-star like popularity. He shouldn't be there because, at All-Star Weekend, they say it's the most like, players trying to recruit everybody at All-Star Weekend. And they always say things like, Vooch, nobody's trying to recruit Vooch at All-Star Weekend. Nobody's wanting to hang out with Vooch at All-Star Weekend, which I think is disrespectful, because he's incredible. And we all know that. And we have front row seats to that every game of the year. And Vooch is just like, he doesn't get injured. He doesn't he's been incredible since he was named an All-Star 2 years ago. The respect needs to be given to Vucevic. I don't care that his game might not be the sexiest, but if you're giving me a guy that can step out to the perimeter, and then can also make just freaking hook shots at any moment's notice from the right hand or left hand, give me that guy. He's great. He's incredible. It's been awesome to see him. I'm glad, on the Magic, and I'm really glad that he got the nod. I wasn't sure, with the way our season has gone, I didn't know if we could have anything nice this year. So I was really happy to see that Vooch got named to the All-Star team. It did come as a surprise a little bit, just because of, Sabonis, and how great he's played. But if you line it up and you look, Vucevic is the better player at this current time. Might not be the way when it's all said and done, because Sabonis is still very young. But with all that saying, really, really happy for Vooch.
So I have an objection to that. I actually do think the way that Vooch plays is very sexy. Like, I enjoy watching him play. Like, he has okay, don't start with me. Okay. I know where you're going. Okay. You know what I mean. But in my opinion, he has a rare skill set as far as like the back to the basket, like the hooks and everything like that. So when he's rolling like that, he's even, obviously we all love when he's hitting threes, but when he's hitting like the 18 footers, he's getting his little dream shake action. He's hitting hook shots. I love watching Vooch do a lot of that stuff. So I wasn't surprised as much as I was relieved that he made the All-Star team, just because I did kind of get roped into all of the media personalities literally across the board. Like that day, no one had Vooch as an Eastern All-Star reserve. I thought Sabonis was going to get in just because of how good the Pacers have been out. And, they traded Oladipo. They've been without Karis LeVert. And then Julius Randle, New York Knicks, would have been, his first All-Star game. So that would have been like the sexy big market pick. So I kind of got roped into a lot of that. But when I saw the tweet from Shams come across, I was just like, thank God. Like, two instances this season where I've just been absolutely completely elated by the Magic. One was the Cole Anthony game winner, and then Vooch being named to the All-Star team. I think those are by far and away the two brightest spots of the season so far. So super happy for Vooch. I think he's incredibly deserving. And I'm hoping to see I don't know, have either of you have the All-Star jerseys been leaked for what they're going to look like? Because I'm really hoping to get another Vucevic one this year.
I haven't seen it. I could have sworn I saw mock-ups of it like a month ago. Somebody tweeted out, but I haven't seen the official ones yet. I personally like it when the All-Star format is actually East versus West instead of the whole captains thing, which we're going to have to deal with Vooch probably being picked last in that format as well, which I think happened last time. I'd be surprised if he wasn't picked last time. But look, Vooch, he's only two Magic players have played every single Magic game this season. It's Vooch and Dwayne Bacon. So without Vooch, the Magic would be lucky to have 5 wins. Let's be honest here. And the record's not good, but the Magic would be the worst team in the NBA without him. And obviously the coaches not only rewarded that, but obviously realized that. I'm really happy Domantas Sabonis did get in because look, Indiana is a pretty good team and they've been, holding their own between, Malcolm Brogdon and Sabonis and, wait till they get Karis LeVert back, because they've had TJ Warren out now. So, that's a good Pacer team. So I'm glad he got in. But if you just look at the statistics, you look at the efficiency. I mean, I saw the stat, last night that Vuce is 7th in the league in defensive win shares, which I didn't know, and if you don't know what defensive win shares are, you can look it up. You can search it on Basketball Reference, the proper definition. But Vuce isn't known at all for any type of defensive work. Like he's an average defender. Like he's a much better team defender than an actual one-on-one guy, as we saw in the Utah game against Gobert. But some of that too is having actual wings that can defend and help you in that. But I mean, look, Vuce deserved it, and I am curious to see the All-Star jerseys because the Vuce jersey, All-Star jersey I have is the white one, which
is the correct one.
But it was not offered in the Orlando Magic online shop. It might have been offered for like 2 days at the arena or at the team shop in the arena, but it wasn't offered online. So actually the Vuce jersey I own is a bootleg jersey from China because I couldn't find it anywhere. So hopefully the Magic actually get their act together and put that jersey out online because I was looking for it. It wasn't offered. So I'd like it to actually be offered this time. So and hopefully it's nice.
Just a tip for anybody that's looking to get one. So I have the black one, which is not the All-Star jersey that he actually wore in the game in 2019. He wore the white jersey. However, my wife found this on the NBA Euro shop. So she actually ordered this from Europe and it took like 3 weeks to get here. But that was the only way I could get one. She couldn't find one on the, NBA shop or the Orlando Magic team shop. She has a friend that lives in Orlando. She went to the arena. She couldn't find it there either. So yes, hopefully the Magic get their act together. And I'm so happy that you brought up the fact that Nikola Vucevic will probably be picked last in the All-Star draft because people have been talking about how Kevin Durant tweeted out in the end of 2019 that Vucevic is so entertaining to watch. He's so talented. And I wanted to ask you guys, am I wrong for thinking that Kevin Durant was completely trolling when he tweeted that? Because people think he's really serious.
No, he is serious. He was, because when he tweeted that, he was out, I think, with injury. So he was spending one of the, it was during that stretch where he was watching a lot of league pass and whatnot. But I'm 100% certain he was serious about it. And because even though Durant's not playing in the game and Sabonis is replacing him, Durant's still going to be the captain. He's still going to be picking guys. So we talked, one of you guys mentioned how, he's not probably the most popular guy to try and flirt with and get on your team, but you've got a couple of teams that could use a really good center. Brooklyn shipped Jared Allen out and they still got to deal with DeAndre Jordan. So Brooklyn might be interesting to keep an eye on. They don't have much to trade, obviously, but the team that does is Boston, who's got picks and, the trade exemption that they can actually take Vuce's salary in. So it'll be interesting to see actually if Vuce does indeed get picked last and to see what type of compliments he gets from some of his East peers during that weekend.
Well, and that's the thing is like, it goes along with the coaching when the coach is getting him into the All-Star game, right? Like KD is a guy that, being an NBA player is one of the guys who will, break down film and see Vucevic on film and see him in person. Coaches do the same, obviously. So it only makes sense that they are actually appreciative of his game. Yes, from an outsider looking in who doesn't think of it from that perspective of, oh, he's probably serious because, like I said, he's watching footage of Vuce. He maybe enjoys his footwork and just appreciates the little aspects of his game that the outsider and the common viewer does not see. So I think that it's fair to say that he's serious, but I also can understand that people who think he's trolling because the people who think that he's trolling are people that probably don't appreciate Vuce's game. So and to the full, like they're 100% certain he was trolling. But I can see it from, maybe both perspectives, but I would like to think that he's serious. I haven't put too much thought into it since he tweeted it really, but it's definitely one of those tweets that gets thrown around by Magic Twitter every now and then when we get bored, or when, All-Star games are coming up and Katie's going to be picking. So it'll be interesting to see where Vooch falls, and then get to see him actually play in the All-Star game. I mean, he's just so consistent. I'm never worried about him, even in an All-Star game. He's never too high, never too low. I'm never worried about him getting like a first shot in an All-Star game from beyond the arc and him airballing. I'm just not. And especially if it's a mid-range, one of those 18 footers, it's gone in. It doesn't matter. He's incredible.
I was happy for him last time because, he got to play next to Dirk Nowitzki, which was really awesome. And look, he definitely had jitters in that game. He played well. He got very few touches, but he played pretty well. He actually got on the board, and that's all that matters. And when you're a big man in the All-Star game, usually it's a guards game. So, but I can actually see Vooch getting a little loose with it in this game coming, coming up.
Getting Vucci with it.
I really want to see Vooch in the 3-point shootout because he actually deserves to be in it.
That would be interesting.
And
really
the skills competition, he almost made it far in that. He obviously, look, mobility isn't his thing. So when it came down to the full court portion of the skills competition, it didn't work out for him. But I think in a 3-point shootout, obviously it's a little tough when you're 7 foot tall. You got to reach down further to pick the ball off the rack. But I would like to see Vooch in that competition. I think he'd actually do pretty good.
No, I would like to see that. And let me just follow up my KD comment with this. So I did a little bit of digging. So that night, the Magic were playing the Atlanta Hawks on NBA TV. They lost 101-93 to the Hawks. Vooch actually played really well in that game. 27 points, 6 rebounds, 12 of 19 from the floor, 2 of 4 from 3. However, that same night, the Nets were playing the Timberwolves, and the Nets lost in overtime. So at the time of the tweet, I remember there being a lot of people that are like, oh, he's trolling because the Magic are on NBA TV instead of, him being able to watch the Nets or whatever. I'm sure he had, ways to watch the Nets if he really wanted to, but Kevin Durant has also been very complimentary of Vooch in the past, like pre-games when the Thunder, would play the Magic. He's called Vooch one of the best bigs in the league and things like that before. So, but with KD, in my opinion, you just never know because he's always willing to throw some shots
Twitter fingers
on Twitter. Exactly. Exactly. So anyways, this past week as well, we've been waiting on the second half of the NBA schedule to be released. And that rule was released this past week here. So according to PositiveResiduals.com, an analytics website, they have ranked the Magic as having the toughest second half of the schedule in the entire NBA. So, Adam, I guess we can start with you. Why is that, or is that not significant?
It's extremely significant whether you're pro tanking or not pro tanking. If you want this team to make the playoffs, you don't want the Magic dealing with the toughest schedule in the league when they still got all these injuries that they're dealing with. But even just from a traveling perspective, we don't have to go into specifics, but out of the gate, I think they start the second half of the schedule at Miami, then at San Antonio the very next night, and then back at home playing the Heat again. Like there's some inefficiencies in this second half schedule that were not an issue in the first half, and they're all crammed together. I'd be surprised if the Magic had more than one period during the second half of the schedule where they have 2 days off. I'd be surprised. I haven't looked at it that closely, but if you're pro tanking, you like the schedule, because even if the front office doesn't deal away a veteran or two or a player or two, organically this team is just not in a good position to win. Let's be honest. When you're dealing with a brutal schedule and you're dealing with all these tough teams that you're going up against that are all playoff teams, and your roster is decimated that it's been all season, you lead the league in most games missed due to injury. It's going to be tough for the team.
So just taking a quick look here. So you mentioned, just the few periods where they have significant time off. So actually, you talked about that Thursday, Friday at Miami, at San Antonio. Then that Sunday, they're home from Miami. Then they actually have 3 days off. And then in April, I believe they have 2 separate stints of having 2 days off. So, but then after that, they don't have 2 days off for the rest of the season. But the March is just absolutely brutal. So we know that we have Dallas, Atlanta this week before the All-Star break, but then it's Miami, San Antonio, Miami, Knicks, Nets, Celtics, Nuggets, Suns, Blazers, Lakers, Clippers. Like that's the whole season, right there. I mean, I've been saying for like, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 weeks that prior to the All-Star break is really going to be the season. But with the trade deadline being the 25th, Luke, like we're looking down the barrel right now.
Yeah. Yeah. The second half of the schedule is not fun. When you know it's bad, when analytically it's like the worst of anybody in the league. Magic fans, I hope you guys enjoyed that 6-2 start where the schedule wasn't the toughest, because it's going to get bad. It's going to get really ugly. And there's going to be a whole lot of L's on the second half of the schedule. I don't know, if it'll end up looking worse than the first half of the schedule, solely because hopefully the Magic have guys back. But the schedule's not helping them at all, and probably shoots their chances down of, trying to get even that 10 spot. I mean, it's just teams on the bottom half that are around the Magic some of them are getting better. They're getting better and they don't have the toughest schedule. And so that bodes well for them. Some of those teams haven't made playoffs in a while or whatever it might be. So they're definitely going to push for it, because as we know, making the playoffs does the fan base very well and the organization very well if you haven't been there in a while. So now Magic fans, I mean, do you guys think 2 years ago, if this were the case, before the Magic had made the playoffs, right? If this were the case, same scenario, we're in a COVID season, second half of the schedule gets released, all blah, blah, blah. Do you think that there is a majority tank crowd, or do you think it's people wanting to push for the playoffs because at that point the Magic hadn't made the playoffs in so long? Where do you guys fall on that? Like if it were the same exact scenario as we have right now, do you think there are still a lot of pro tankers, or do you think there's people that are tired of trying to, reach their hand into the draft and pick out a gem, or they want to make the playoffs because it had been so long?
I mean, if are we assuming the team's still decimated by injury?
Yeah. So it's the same exact situation, but
again, you don't really have a say in it then, because if you don't have the actual bodies, if you're missing all these talented, all your talent due to injury, I mean, it's a tough situation to be in. I think it'd be more people saying, wanting the team to go for a playoff spot for sure. But I mean, it's the reason why the Magic 2 years ago were definitely pushing for a playoff spot. Obviously, we had the playoff drought as well, but there was some playoff revenue involved with that. You were guaranteed to host 2 playoff games at Amway Center at minimum, in a non-COVID-19 season, like we did in the Raptor series. But now it's different. Amway Center, you still only have like 4,000 fans allowed in the building, so you're heavily limited in that regard. Maybe come playoff time in May that it gets expanded as more and more people get the vaccine. But I can't look at it the same. Obviously, look, 2 years ago, the Magic went on an amazing run, just an insane run to get into the playoffs, but they were healthy. They got healthy, at least for the most part. And that was, it's completely different from a roster perspective. Right. One thing with this schedule too right now is if the Magic do want to try and put themselves in the play-in situation, the last 4 games on the schedule are all on the road. You're at Milwaukee, you're at Atlanta, and then you finish with a back-to-back in Philly for the final 4 games of the season. Yeah. So again, even if they want to try and get into the play-in game, which look, all those players on the roster want to win.
Right.
Tanking, it's not their decision. Those types of minute decisions come down to the front office and even the coaching staff, if the front office is leaning on them heavily to maybe make a few different minutes decisions or rotational minutes, because that happens. Let's be honest, it does happen if teams are trying to tank. So in a situation where you have both John Hammond and Jeff Weltman and Steve Clifford, who have one more season on their contract after this year. So come summer 2020, they're all out of contracts unless they get extended between now and then. That's something you also got to factor in as well, is are they going to be around in 15 months? We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. And like you said, Adam, you said that players don't want to tank. And I think it's something that like people for some reason don't take into account. They act like these players aren't playing for their jobs and for contracts. And oh, by the way, they hate losing. They're competitive people. That's the reason why they are where they are. So it only makes sense. Yeah, and that's also a good perspective, Adam, that you offered with, the it's uncertain how many fans the arena will hold. So if we were to take this specific scenario, move it 2 years ago, people would be like, I probably won't even be able to get a ticket to a postseason game. So I mean, I don't know. I'm sure I want the team to win, but
And also, if you're sneaking into the play-in, you're not hosting the games. Both games are at either the 7th or the 8th seeds place. So
right.
again, you'd have to win just to get into the postseason,
Mm-hmm.
and then in the postseason, you would host 2 home games. So, I mean, there's a lot going on in there.
Yeah, trying to compare it to 2 years ago, I think there's just so many variables that went into that. I think the biggest was probably the playoff drought. But now that we've been in the playoffs the last 2 years, we're like, okay, this is great, but at some point we want more. And I think a lot of people, they think that the best route to more is to take a few months of a tank, end up with a top draft pick, add a top prospect, put that with the rest of our young nucleus, and then hopefully 2-3 years from now that manifests into something really, really special. So but I'm glad that you brought up the point about, tanking is really mostly on the job of the front office and their ability to influence the roster and also the coaching staff. The players are playing to win regardless. I think there are people in the fan base, unfortunately, that almost expect and want the players to want to lose. And when that's what you want, you're not going to get the results that you want, because it just forms, bad habits, and people laugh about culture. But, there I think there is a lot of significance to the team's culture and the shift that this front office has tried to make in the team's culture over the past few years. But in regards to the front office making decisions and potentially influencing the coaching staff, so just like a week and a half ago, when Mo Bamba had a great fourth quarter. I forget what team it was now, but great fourth quarter, just went absolutely nuts. And then after the next day, reporters asked Steve Clifford on whether or not that was going to kind of force his hand to play Mo Bamba, and he came out and said, no, Ken Burch is our backup. We're sticking with Ken Burch, blah, blah, blah. And then the other night after the Brooklyn game, he's like, oh, well, things are, well, before the Brooklyn game, actually, prior to that, a few days ago, he started to say that going forward, we're really going to base the lineups and the minutes off of matchups, on the matchup of that night. Like, for instance, against Detroit, Mo didn't play whatsoever. He opted to go with Ken Burch. Now, Mo's got some minutes Thursday night against the Nets, and Steve Clifford comes out and is saying, oh, well, we're going to switch things up now. Mo's going to get some minutes because we need to keep these guys in rhythm. So, Luke, I guess I can lead with you first, just ask you, do you think something happened with the front office going to Cliff? Like, why the sudden change of tune? It's almost out of nowhere.
I don't know. Maybe Adam can offer, more perspective that maybe I haven't thought of to this point, but Mo wasn't, I mean, we've gone through the timeline so many times. I almost hate to do it again, but Mo wasn't playing. People said, is it COVID related? Mo comes out publicly, says, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. I'm conditioned. I think I'm to the point where I need to be. I just want the minutes. So, and that wasn't verbatim, but kind of the gist of it, I think. So he says, those things makes us think this is kind of odd. What's the dynamic like behind the scenes? Because we really don't know. And then you get the part where Clifford says listen, center's our deepest position. And unfortunately, that's just kind of how the dice has been rolled and the hand that's been dealt to us right now dealt to Mo rather. And he starts talking about things that would be good for Mo to work on in the future and things that he's liked, about his game that are going to help him in the future. And it just sounded like where their future's not aligned. But now, I mean, Kim got a DNP coach decision, and Mo is playing. I mean, Mo was lucky to touch the court in a blowout to start the year. So I don't know what changed. I don't know if the front office said something to Cliff, or there was a message relayed to them, or I don't know what that would be. And maybe Adam, like I said, maybe you have some thoughts on kind of the topic. I know you've probably thought about it as much as we have in terms of Mo, and there's been the free Mo train that started on Twitter and all those things, which I love. But and again, nothing against Kem. We just want to see Mo. At least most of us do. But Adam, where do you kind of stand on that whole situation?
Yeah, and it's kind of funny that people have gone from free mode to actually play mode, because if you're free mode, then he's probably not on the Magic anymore. So it's just play mode. So
Right.
we'll go that route. But I guess it's just your perspective on how you view both Kem and Mo. As you said, Luke, Kem got his first DNP last night, his first DNP of the season. He was the third guy who played every game next to, along with Vooch and Dwayne, and now we're down to two. But I mean, it could be either way with how you look at it. It could be that Mo's playing because he's being showcased to be traded away from here. It could be that medically, from the athletic trainer's perspective, the shackles are off, basically, where they're comfortable in him getting heavier, much more pressurized second unit minutes, where he's in the first quarter instead of just the fourth quarter against like a scrub third unit or something, so which, and to be fair, in some of those fourth quarters that Mo was playing and putting up a lot of numbers, I mean, he was still doing it against first unit, second units. But I mean, my viewpoint is that definitely the front office communicated something, because something's going on. It could be, like I said, that Mo's getting dealt away, or it could be that they felt that practice, that they felt that Cliff had to just play him and see how he did. And the Utah loss, it's tough to decide because a lot of people played badly. It was Vooch, and then Bamba was the best scorer on the team, because we saw Terrence and Evan play horribly in that. On the defensive end, you're seeing Mo, against Golden State, he got a couple blocks or deflected a couple shots and balls and whatnot. But during those first few weeks where he was playing in the fourth quarter, the way I was seeing was, he was putting up a lot of good numbers, but either it was rust, or maybe there was some long hauler COVID type effects that we're not going to find out, because then you're getting into HIPAA type health laws and issues like that. But he's moving around much better. His stamina seems to be a lot better. And I think we're going to see Mo play for a while here, for a good stretch, until it just gets to the point where either Clifford's just frustrated with playing with him, or some type of trade happens, because there's got to have to be a decision made here at the trade deadline, because Kem Birch is going to be a free agent this summer as well. So either you can ship off Kem to a playoff or even title contending team that needs a big like Kem, who is an elite screen setter, who he's not going to block a lot of shots, but I mean, he handles himself pretty well on the boards, and he's the strongest player on our team. But the future should be Mo, theoretically. That's why he got drafted as high as he did. Whether he can consistently put together, decent performances over 12, 24 minutes a night, I don't know. I was kind of hoping last night that Clifford, because the Magic were down by a lot at that point during the Utah game, that Cliff would actually play Vooch with Bamba together, just to see if that would change anything in the game. But Steve is very resistant on that.
Definitely. I think the other possibility that we haven't brought up yet is that potentially Kem is being held out to, save him from some type of injury. I mean, he's been showcased, I think, as much as he would need to be this season. What you see with Kem is what you're going to get. And I don't think he needs to be showcased. Like you said, strong. He's one of the, when he's playing regular minutes, he's one of the best offensive rebounders in the league, one of the best screen setters in the league, a very strong guy that has some defensive versatility when it comes to the 4 and the 5. A team like Brooklyn that we talked about earlier could probably use a guy, like Kem Birch, coming off of the bench. I know they've got Nick Claxton there. DeAndre Jordan is just, I don't even think we can call him DeAndre Jordan anymore, because he's just not. He's a shell of his former self. But I'm really hoping that it's not to showcase Mo. One, I would be brokenhearted. I really like the kid. Just, I'm biased. I'm sorry. But I think given the expectation when we drafted him, where we drafted him, you knew it was going to be 3-4 years at least before he started to look like a legitimate NBA player. And now halfway through his third season, when the first 2 seasons have been really injury riddled, you're going to ship him out. I'm hoping that is not the case. I'll be really disappointed just from somebody who likes to root for Mo, but also just from the philosophy, I guess, from the front office that, their strategy and what they thought of Mo changed that much over the last 2 years. But I think we're going to find out in the next few weeks here. We're just under 4 weeks away from the trade deadline right now. So that's perfect segue to our next topic here. So the NBA trade deadline is coming up. Evan Fournier, Aaron Gordon, and now, Kem Birch or Mo Bamba. These are names that we've been talking about potentially for months. Some of these guys getting moved. Whoever wants to take this first, do we think anything happens? I feel like we have this conversation every week, but what do we think?
I think Evan's getting traded. I wish they would have done it if not last offseason, maybe as soon as Markelle went down and you realized, oh, we're in big trouble here, because at that point Fournier was actually playing pretty well when he wasn't out with the back spasms and whatnot. But the problem with it now with trying to trade Evan away is, what can you get back? I've seen some articles and reports saying that you might actually be able to get like a first rounder from a playoff team, which you're looking at, 20, 30 range, basically, which we know the front office doesn't really like picks in that range to begin with. They're pretty much lottery or I don't want the pick, but ideally I would like to get a young talent. Can you ship them off to Portland and get Anthony Simons back? I don't know. Can you trade him to Denver and take back Gary Harris's 2 years left on his contract and get RJ Hampton somehow? That's kind of my thinking, is if you can get him for a young wing, a young scorer, go for it. And I'm at the point where Evan's a funny guy in the locker room. I was in the locker room for 5-6 years during all those losing seasons. And, we've said players hate losing. And when you get into a losing culture situation, it's terrible. But Evan, he's got the right attitude of snarkiness with optimism, with just motivation to just not accept losing. So as much as I don't like seeing him on the court, he is typically pretty good in the locker room with those guys. But on the court, it's just such a long history of him making bad decisions. We'll take the clutch shots here and there. We'll take, some good 3-point shooting, but it's time. It's time. Vuce will hate to see him go, obviously, but Nick knows that. I think for the team to get better, this has to end.
Do you think so? Are you saying that Evan is probably, in your opinion, he's the most likely to get traded at the deadline?
I think so, because if you trade, if Kem Birch gets dealt, he's going to be part of a bigger package. He's either going to get shipped out with a guy like Evan or AG or Ross. It's not going to be just Kem, I don't think, because Kem makes like 3.3 million, yeah. Right? So, you're going to get maybe 2 second-round picks if you're lucky. So again, I'd rather just have Kem's body, because we're, who knows how many more games we're going to have 8 or 9 active players available at this point. And look, when Kem signed, last time when his contract was up, he signed knowing most likely that he was going to be the third guy, the third center on this team. So there's still a situation where, the Magic could still have both Mo and Kem come the start of next season. It's possible. Kem spent all those years fighting in Europe just to get his shot in the NBA, and he's living that NBA life. And if he's got to take a third big man role, he'll do it. But I think Evan's the most likely guy. I think Aaron is the guy that you can get the most back for, absolutely. But then again, next season he's going to be in the final year of his contract in that regards. But I think there's a situation where you can utilize Aaron and maybe this lottery pick, whatever the Magic get, to maybe go after a guy like Bradley Beal. I don't think that's out of the question if you can somehow put a package like that together. Now, do the Wizards want to trade Bradley Beal within their division, because there's rumors about maybe Charlotte trying to get involved to get, LaMelo Ball, a big time scorer like that. But I think Aaron, he's most likely, if he's going to get dealt, I think for Aaron, it's going to happen in the summer.
Do you think that, I mean, based by what you just said, you probably don't, but how long AG's been held out with his ankle sprain, that, teams when they're tanking, they tend to say, take a few nights off, take your time, nurse that injury. But we also know that this can happen if a player is on the block, and every outlet wants AG, I feel like, to be traded. That doesn't mean that's going to happen by any means. But I was also thinking about that because right now I get real paranoid about everything, right? Like, as a lot of people that are really plugged into the NBA do. Oh, why isn't this guy playing? Oh, why'd this guy get a DNP? And why is this kid playing over him? With AG, it's hard not to look at it. I know it's an ankle sprain, and those can be bad, but it's like they're saying, oh, he won't be back till after All-Star break, and we'll see, and whatever. So I don't know. Do you think there's any merit to him being held out, to thinking that's going toward a trade and they're holding him out, or no?
I mean, right now he's out because of the ankle sprain. I mean, that was a really bad ankle sprain. That's about as bad as that gets without breaking something. Basically, what happened to him in that Raptor game, which, again, thank you, Kyle Lowry, for the cheap shot earlier in that game. But yeah, it's with AG. If AG's not dealt by March 25th, I mean, both him and Cole are probably going to be held out till, who knows, maybe late April, early May. There's a situation where they'll definitely bring him along real slowly,
right?
Especially if, knock on wood, you got guys like Chuma, and if Aminu's still on the team, both those guys are healthy, then you're okay at the power forward position. Because, I mean, if you look at Aminu right now, Aminu might be a very prime trade candidate as well, because we're all assuming he's going to pick up his player option this summer for $10 million, but we don't necessarily know that. He might want out of Orlando, or, he might be more suited on a team, maybe going back to Portland, that could use somebody like him for a playoff run. It depends. I mean, people within the team say, how really popular is with the team. He's got a big locker room presence, even though he seems like the quietest, shyest guy in the world to me. But we'll see with that. But when it comes to Aaron, I mean, let's think about this. Okay. In my opinion, out of all the Magic's, I guess we'll call them power forwards, even though, we're going down the positionless basketball route. But I mean, the two guys you want to keep for your power forward, small forward positions going forward, in my mind, are Chuma and Isaac. Those are the two guys I envision starting in the future. So at that point, you're looking at, well, who's the odd man out? I mean, Aminu, he's still recovering. You can have him coming off the bench, but Aaron, you got to go get something for him. I mean, Aaron's in some type of package can get you that elite score, that number one scoring option, I think, that you're looking for.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think Aaron is the odd guy out when it comes to the forward of the power forward, small forward position. Real quick, I just want to circle back to Kem. We talked to Philip Rossman-Reich a few weeks back, and he had mentioned that the path that Kem has taken to the NBA, playing overseas, signing with the Magic, playing his butt off, and, for the most part this season has earned that backup role. That goes a long way with guys in the locker room. And for the team to just take the backup role away from Kem and give it to Mo, you're going down a slippery slope there of accountability and guys earning their playing time. So that's kind of goes into my thinking of why he might be being held out for trade purposes, because if you're just sitting him to sit him, I could see that causing a little bit of an issue in the locker room, but I could be totally wrong about that. But I'm right there with you. I think Evan is probably the guy that's most likely to be traded. Aaron, you still have so much time on his contract. But it's definitely going to be interesting. I mean, we've got 4 weeks to go here. I know we keep saying that, Luke. We talk about this every week, but we definitely wanted to get Adam's thoughts on that. So I wanted to take this opportunity to try to pivot to NBA Top Shot. So one of the big reasons that we brought Adam on, because from everybody that I follow on Twitter, Adam seems to be the most involved. And I think you've been interested in messing around with NBA Top Shot for quite some time. So if you just want to first give your best explanation of what exactly it is, and then kind of how you got turned on to it, and then just your experience with it so far.
Yeah, I've been involved in NBA Top Shot for 5 weeks now, which is a lifetime in Top Shot terms, because it's basically been around for not even a year at this point. And those first like 6 months, it was only literally a couple hundred people on it. So, but if you're into trading cards, be it the NBA, think of it just as an online version of it, where instead of these static cards that you hold in your hand, that you collect in your hand, that you put them in a case or mount them somewhere, it lives online. And instead of these just static photos, it's moments, it's highlights that are of assists, dunks, and there's a cryptocurrency factor to it, which I've never been involved in cryptocurrency in my life. I didn't know what an NFT, what a non-fungible token was, until I heard about NBA Top Shot.
Mm-hmm.
But that's basically what an NFT is, a non-fungible token, where it lives online. It's not tangible. It's not something you can hold, obviously. In essence, it's nothing. And yet you have people paying $208,000 for a LeBron James highlight, a LeBron James moment. And it's insane. I first heard about it, and feel free if you want to throw questions at me or interrupt me or whatnot, but I first heard about it on like January 19th or 20th. I heard it just random on the Ringers Mismatch podcast with Chris Vernon and Kevin O'Connor that do it. I heard him talking about, I think Vernon was talking about like a John Morant moment that he bought and how quickly like it jumped up in value. And I was just like, well, I love the NBA. It's a pandemic, so I got a little bit of time to maybe get into financial hobby at the moment. So I checked it out, and quickly I saw that there was an opportunity to combine, my fandom, my love for the Magic, my finance background, and have fun with it, but also try and just make some quick money, because that's what the majority of people are in it right now, are in it to try and make a quick buck. Let's be honest. But as quickly I figured out that I could see myself doing this for a while. I could see myself being involved in this for years if done right. So I threw in like $875 I threw in with a credit card purchase. That's the other thing with this, because there's this whole world of NFTs, non-fungible tokens that exist. There's stuff that's, if you ever Google stuff like crypto kitties or crypto punks, or you can buy art off of there, or that's just online. This is the first time that you actually don't need to use like Bitcoin or Ethereum or other cryptocurrencies to actually get in. You can use your card, you can use a credit card. So, that's what I did. And I put in $875, and the market or the marketplace has been kind of low for the past couple of days, but I'm in my portfolio, or my collection's valued in the low 5 digits right now. So I'm not rich, I'm not wealthy. There's guys that got in like 3 months ago there's a guy who put $9,000 in, and he's a millionaire. He's a Top Shot millionaire right now.
Good for him.
That's insane, man. Sorry to interrupt you, Adam.
No, you're good.
By now, if you had never heard of Top Shot prior to this conversation with Adam, you're probably asking yourself the same questions I was asking myself 3 or 4 days ago, which is, what's the big deal? How do I get my hands on a pack to then open it? Now, what I came to soon realize was the hard part isn't affording a pack. The hard part is getting your hands on the pack, because right now the demand is so much higher than the supply. And as a result, that's why these cards are selling for so much money. And there's a lot of things that go into it, guys. There's they started out with Series 1, which is a string of moments that aren't to be made ever again. Then there's a Series 2, which is what they're on right now. I was fortunate enough, they just introduced a pre-order type thing, and Jonathan and I were lucky enough, Adam, I'm sure you jumped in on the pre-order train there, and got the $9 packs pre-ordered, and we'll get those here in a couple weeks. But Adam, did you get your hands on the premium, or did you were you a $9? Were they even doing that for the $100 one?
So yeah, and just a bit more background info. So what makes this so popular is that it's officially licensed by the NBA and the Players Association. Right. They're getting a cut of this, and that's why you're seeing players get involved.
And yet players are just now finding out.
well, yeah, some are finding out. Some are asking for free moments, which it's funny because Cole Anthony was doing that, I think 3 days ago, and his rookie moment is going for like $600 right now. So I just have a few things of advice, basically. Never sell any of your moments for a loss. Hold it, because odds are it's going to jump up in value quicker than you think. So never sell for a loss, and don't give your any moments away for free to millionaires, especially NBA players, because they're all getting hooked up by Dapper Labs, the company that runs all this. They're out in Vancouver, Canada, but they all get hooked up with packs, and those packs are worth at least minimum a couple $1,000s on their own. So,
right.
But yeah. Sorry, I forgot if you can repeat the question before. Sorry, I went on the tangent right there. I don't know if you wanted to repeat what the previous question was.
I'm gonna be honest with you, Adam.
I think he forgot the question, but what I can say is that I'm gonna be keeping my eyes on Dapper Labs IPO. When that stock, if it ever goes public, I'm gonna be all over that, because I do think, because the start of the pandemic, Adam, as you can see behind me, I kind of got into sports memorabilia a little bit. And part of that was also getting into some of the trading cards. Like I have some Chuma Okeke. I have a lot of Chuma Okeke rookie cards now. I've got some Jonathan Isaac and Markelle Fultz rookie cards that I'm hoping will go up in value, and I'll be able to perhaps cash in on that. But Panini, if you guys aren't aware, is like the biggest sports card manufacturer and producer in regards to the NBA and the NFL. Panini started their own virtual cards, a year or so ago.
Yeah, it was like 2 years ago.
Top Shot has just come in and just completely, in my opinion, blown that out of the water. It's such a superior product because they've really got the NBA players talking about it. And when it comes in terms of it's an actual moment and a highlight, like if DJ Augustine's game winner against the Raptors ever comes out, I will cut off my arm to get that moment. Like it's just going to be stuff like that you can't really offer in what Panini is currently offering. But
yeah, I remember Luke's question now with the packs and stuff. But so but some of the players did invest here at the beginning. Aaron Gordon of the Magic, he's an investor in Top Shot. There's other guys like Spencer Dinwiddie, Andre Iguodala. There's a couple others. Like they got Tyler Hero to be kind of the face of Top Shot. But Jonathan, you're right. They Panini did something similar with, I think it was just MLB with Major League Baseball, but it's basically just online static cards. And that never caught on. But here with the highlight stuff, it's working with the actual moments. And, Luke, you're right. I mean, they did series 1 for last season, which was, the 2019-20 season. So the series go based off the NBA season. So we're in series 2 right now for this 2020-2021 season. It'll run through the finals, and then the series 3 will come out for the 2021-2022 season. It's crazy. And now, because the NBA is just, is making some decent money off this, because for every time you sell a card on the marketplace, Dapper Labs keeps 5%, and some of that gets divvied out to the NBA and the Players Association.
And Jonathan, I wanted you, because also people are still probably sitting there asking, why on God's green earth would I purchase a pack for more than the $9 pack? Jonathan, I don't want to, have to put you on the spot here, but Jonathan ventured out and got $100 pack. And Jonathan, tell them about like your experience with that $100 pack and what a return has looked like, so far early on in that.
All right. So I just want to preface this. I am not a financial advisor. Okay. I feel like every podcast nowadays, if you're talking about Bitcoin or GameStop or now Top Shot, you have to say I'm not a doctor. But so what I will say, and part of Luke's question about the availability of the packs is right now, whenever Top Shot decides to do what they're calling a drop of packs, they're doing them in limited fashion. I think because they're just trying to keep up with the supply and make the product right now, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong on that. Adam, feel free to jump in here if I'm misspeaking.
Yeah,
but
so I do want to hear what you got in your $99 premium pack because I am jealous. So they've been experimenting with different pack drop systems. So what they did, we're talking Sunday night right now. So what they did yesterday was a completely brand new thing for the pre-order pack of the $9. So where are you guys in the line? Q, remember? I was like I had about 19,000 people in front of me. So I was in there for about 2 hours because there's about like a 45 to 55 minute period of time where they were having issues processing orders and stuff. So it went longer.
64,000 and it took me 4 hours.
153,000 and it took me 5 hours.
I was gonna say, did you get it before the Magic Jazz game tipped off?
Well, so yeah, no, I got it I think I did right before maybe, but yeah, no, that was the thing about it. I actually thought we had some friends over, and so I had my laptop just charging, and so we had some of our friends over, and then I completely forgot. But the last time I looked, I was like 89,000. So I was like, oh, don't worry about it. I got a few hours. I come back over to my laptop and like my screen is completely different. And I was like, wait, what's going on? Did I lose my spot? And then I go and look, and I got an email saying your pre-order was confirmed after I they rerouted me to a payment screen when I went to view my packs. So thankfully, Top Shot was on top of that for the people that fall asleep at the wheel like me. I was able to pay and then get around to that. Jonathan, tell us about that $99 pack, and then we'll move on there.
Yeah. So when it comes to the drops, so for instance, what was that Thursday or Friday, whenever that premium drop was, they only sold roughly 6,000 packs. When I got into the queue, there were 145,000 people trying to get one of those 6,000 spots. So I was lucky enough, and I don't know, one of you guys can do the math on that, but it's a very slim chance that you get into the drop.
You had a much less than 10% chance.
There you go.
You're closer to 5% chance, basically.
There you go. So 1 in 20, 1 out of every 20 people had the ability to buy one of these packs. So I was like, what the heck? I just got my tax return, so we're out here balling. So I was like, what the heck? I know how lucrative and volatile it is right now. It's like, let me just see, what can happen. I think with the premium pack, you are guaranteed at least, what is it, like a gold metallic, Adam?
Yeah, it's a metallic gold limited edition,
right.
which is a rare card. Yes.
So the rarest card that I ended up getting was a Dylan Brooks. I think it was a Dylan Brooks layup.
Yeah,
I forget. I think it was numbered to 5,000 or 1,500. I don't really remember.
He thinks because it didn't last long in his collection.
Well, the metallic golds are out of 499. So,
okay, well, much rarer than I thought. So what I did really quickly, I went to the marketplace with that Dylan Brooks card, and I saw that it was
Adam's about to lose his mind that you sold this card.
Well, hey.
Hold on. What'd you sell it at? Because if you look now in the market, those values have dipped. So
I sold it for $900. So I was just looking. I 9x'd my money in the blink of an eye. I had a few other cards. I did give one to Luke. I'm a real homie. He can attest to that.
Gave a good friend.
A Clint Capella dunk. Yep.
So
okay.
Then I had a Nikola Vucevic layup, which I'm keeping. Any Magic player that I get, I'm going to keep that. I also purchased a Markelle Fultz jump shot because one of the more affordable cards out there right now.
Very nice.
And then I had a Draymond Green assist. I had a Darius Baisley dunk, and then there was one other player that I had. But
it's a good pack.
Sold all of those. And I
didn't have RJ.
RJ Barrett, yes, RJ Barrett as well. So I think after the 5% fees that Dapper takes, I ended up with $970 off of that pack. So now,
basically 10 times your money.
Exactly. The demand is so high. If you're guaranteed to get a rare card like that, you have the ability right now to 8, 9, 10x your money like that. I don't think that's going to last. As there's more supply and more people get into the site and everything like that, it's probably going to dip. It might end up coming back over that in the future. But right now, if you're looking to get in and make a quick buck, the opportunity is definitely there.
Yeah, and I mean, look, I was doing the same thing when I started. I was doing the quick flips where whatever profit I could take, I took it and I leveled up. I have some horror stories now where some cards that I sold went ridiculously high. I was the one who sold the LeBron James no look 3 for $106.
Oh no!
That reached.
What was that number to?
It wasn't a great number. But with the LeBron, it doesn't need to be.
Right.
I mean,
Especially a highlight like
early
that.
on, right now, serials, unless you have like either you get the serial number of their, either you get number one, their jersey number, the very last serial number of the series. So if you get serial number 350 out of 350, that has some value. Then there's other weird ones like 69, 420 are popular. The guy's zip code.
Creeps.
I know Slovenia's country phone code is 386 because again, any number that might be enticing to someone, odds are is enticing to someone. So I mean, I got some random. I remember a couple weeks ago I packed some random Will Barton card. It was the serial number was 555 and his jersey number is 5, and I sold that at like a premium. But I mean, with these moments, it's crazy because I mean, you right now you did the right thing in selling that Dylan Brooks because I think it's going for like 750 right now. So you're making out okay. Now with those moments, because there's things called challenges where they'll ask you to collect a certain variety of cards or certain amount of cards, and then your reward is you get this rare card that's never going to be in packs. You can sell that later on and make a profit, but I mean, with stuff like the metallic golds and whatnot, you can either sell it and make your profit now or hold on to it and wait for it to either go in value because the player becomes really good or it gets involved in a challenge and then it's more wanted, more needed, and that goes up. But I mean, with the pack system, it's changed so much. When I joined January 20th, like for the first 3 weeks, it was like a first come first serve. So there was nights where they would do these random drops. And look, this isn't open entirely to the public yet, even though they got like over 150,000 users now. Probably, when I joined in late mid January, it was like 20,000 users.
That's crazy.
So it's blowing up. I remember January 27th, the best day Top Shot had in marketplace sales was $7 million. And you look last week, they had a day where they had like $47 million in market sales. So it's just going insane right now. But yeah, with the packs, those first couple of weeks I was on, because there wasn't just as many people as there are now. They had a free-for-all system. They didn't have like a queue. You could basically, so there were nights, there's a couple of nights. I had one night where I got 8 packs in a night. And then there was one night where I got 6 packs in a night.
Wow.
At $9 a pop. But the thing is some of those the values didn't explode at that time. It ended up happening, later on, because I did stuff like sell a LeBron for $106 that at its peak, I think reached $2,400. It's at it's like a value of $1,400 now, but I got it at a profit. I got it for free out of a pack. So, in a $9 pack, I still sold that thing for 106 and took it and bought something else. I mean, but I'm telling you, I knew this was something when on that first day I joined, I bought a Giannis Antetokounmpo dunk card for like $152, and I sold it literally a week later exactly for $534. So I mean, it's just profits and flips like that in no time, where it's very enticing for sure. But I missed out on the $99 premium pack. I missed out on the $999 Hollow Legend pack that came out a couple weeks ago. My co-host Penny did get it, and let's just say he's in the process of selling. He packed a Carmelo Anthony, and he's in the process of selling that in the low 5 digits from a $999 pack. So hopefully that gets done this week. I'm hoping, but there's definitely money to be made. It's tough now because it's hard to get your hands on a pack. They introduced a queue system where a couple of weeks ago, the queue system came out. You can't get more than 1 pack anymore now. It's impossible with how many people want to get one. Now they did the pre-order thing. I mean, this website is in beta. I've never been on a website where it's in beta, where we're all early adopters. No matter what time you got in, if you get now, because this website isn't open to the public, to everybody, it's not worldwide yet. Imagine when this opens up to like China. It's like it's going to be insane how much money is going to come through.
That's what I was saying, Adam. I was saying that to Jonathan before. I was like, Jonathan, do you know if they're in China yet? And he was like, I don't know, but that's a great point, because that they would go crazy for this product. And I was saying, like, so then there's probably some value in holding on to some of these early cards for the time that it does go global, because those cards will go insane.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's going to be crazy, because I mean, right now your best way, and over the past couple of weeks, they've been periods of time where they completely just, with that Dapper turned off the ability to create a Top Shot account. You know, I gave my 2 tips, where it was, never give a moment free to a millionaire or to an NBA player. Never, always sell for a profit, never sell for a loss. But yeah, my third point, and gosh, I just forgot what my third point was going to be. So that's a Sunday night for you. But my third point is, don't invest money that you need to pull out immediately, because that's one thing they're working on right now, is the withdrawal process. It's going to take, if you need your money to pay bills, to pay your mortgage, to pay your rent, don't expect to get your hands on the money that you put in for at least 3 months, because they're catching up so much right now. Once my account hit a month, I went through the identity check process. So, I mean, this is a big deal, because I mean, in the crypto world, there's money laundering things that you got to keep an eye on. But here, they're making it as legitimate as possible, because it's the NBA that's involved. They don't want to be in some type of money laundering scandal. So, because of just this influx of users, it's been taking them, Dapper's playing a lot of catch up with trying to get, withdrawals to be more common for people, for all users. And they're getting there. They're hiring a ton of people every day. It's, when you're making millions upon millions of dollars a day already, like, you can do that. But just, if you're going to get into it, put just your fun money in it. Don't put your I need access to this money within a few months type of money. So just be smart with that. And do your own research. If you have a gut feeling on a player, like, hey, I think Jordan Clarkson's going to win 6th man of the year, his moment seems low, I'm going to buy it. When he wins the award, it might go up in value, I'll make my money back. Or I think Joel Embiid's moment right here looks pretty cheap, I think he's going to win MVP, I know it's going to go up in value when he wins MVP, let me get this. So I mean, you can, there's so many resources that are both on Top Shot, but then just all over Twitter. I mean, there's so many people now that have like podcasts and YouTube channels already that are trying to make a living off this, and they will, because this is going to have millions of people in it by probably the end of the finals. They're going to have millions of people, and they're all only at 150,000 users right now.
So the fact that you brought up the LeBron card, where now you're like kicking yourself. So just like the little bit of investing that I've been doing the last few weeks, I mean, Top Shot is part of that. Is, if I could give any advice to people, is if you win, like if you have a win and you make a profit, just be happy with the profit. Don't get caught up in the emotions of, oh, I should have done this, I should have done that. Be happy if you win, be sad if you lose. Just try to keep that winning momentum going. If you're investing and you're good at that, just try to, because you'll kill yourself over stuff like that. Like if LeBron wins another finals MVP or something like that this year, and that card goes crazy, don't beat yourself up about it. Like you made the profit, and be happy with that. I do think there is a bit of a bubble to this right now. And is that what that's going to look like 2-3 years from now? I have no idea, when there's millions of users, but right now it's a heck of a lot of fun. If you get lucky enough to buy a pack, chances are right now you're going to be able to flip it, and make some cash. But like Adam said, don't expect to pull your money out, because I tried to do that and I was like, oh, there's 150,000 people on this app, and right now like 6,000 people can withdraw their money. So, but we'll see what happens with that. But any final thoughts on Top Shot, fellas? I think that was an awesome conversation.
No, I'm Adam. If you'll stick on the call here after, I've got a couple questions for you. So
absolutely. You guys
insider trading. Anybody
can hit me up in my DMs. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. I actually used to be, but I'm not liable for any decisions that you make. But no, I mean, you're right. You're right, Jonathan, about the whole take your profits. Don't be sad about taking your profits, because either you're going to be able to just, withdraw money, or you're going to be able to invest in something else. My two best investments has been buying a Kawhi Leonard, that one finger block he had against Jamal Murray in the playoffs. I bought that thing for $144. It's worth about $900 at the moment right now. I'm gonna sell that probably in a little bit, but it's gonna
off the call.
Kawhi is very underrated right now in Top Shot. But and then the other one was the Giannis Antetokounmpo MVP move series. I bought a dunk from that for $399. That thing's worth about $2,700 right now. So again, don't kick yourself. Don't panic if you see the market dip. It's a roller coaster, but the roller coaster in the end is going up, because I've been in for 5 weeks. I've seen 3 market crashes, or at least significant dips, and I've seen 2 crazy rises in the market. And right now, in the moment, we're in the middle of a dip, or at least it's not a huge one, but it's a dip. So who knows when that next huge rise comes? So it's just trust your gut, do your research. If you feel like you made a mistake, it's okay, because odds are time is going to forgive you, and time is going to actually turn what seems like a loss into a positive. So that's it. But I'm happy to answer any questions, and it's fun right now.
Folks, don't play with your mortgage money. Just play with your allowance or whatever it is. Have fun with it if you make some money. But Adam, thank you so much, man, for taking the time. I'm glad that we got to talk Top Shot. I'm glad that we also got to talk Orlando Magic basketball. If you guys haven't checked out the Penny and Pops podcast that Adam and Spencer Strode do, you guys definitely need to check that out. Those guys do a great job. But always for Luke, Adam, this has been Jonathan. You guys are listening to the Six Man Show, and we will catch you guys next time. See ya.